Hey everybody, happy Monday. Today I want to talk about why we can be so scared of being happy. Again, I was on a Patreon live stream and we just have such great conversations over there. So if you're interested, the link's in the description. But we were talking about being happy and how being happy can sometimes cause us to self-sabotage, or being happy can be so uncomfortable that we avoid it at all costs. And I just wanted to have a conversation with you about it and also get your take. So feel free to leave any thoughts that you have in the comments down below, because this is something that's so incredibly common, yet I don't know why I haven't talked about it. I've been on YouTube for 10 years, you guys, thousands of videos, never talked about it. But the reason being, so here's the premise. Okay, so we can feel really happy in our life and something could be going really good, right? Let's say we've started therapy finally and we got out of that toxic friendship or relationship, and maybe we finally got that job we've been trying so hard to get. And then we feel like maybe imposter syndrome creeps in, or we find ourselves seeking out maybe that unhealthy toxic relationship again, or I don't know. We can do a lot of different things to maybe create an unhappy scenario again. And we can wonder, why in the hell do I keep doing this? And the truth is that we always assume that being happy is something that everybody strives for and wants, and that it's this amazing feeling that all of us are like, yay, right? But for many, we maybe never felt happy before. And so that feeling of things going our way is uncomfortable because it's completely foreign, right? I think we forget that some of us didn't have healthy, happy childhoods, and maybe it's always just been a struggle. And so when things are going well, we're like, wait, what? It just doesn't feel right, right? It's like, I've talked about this before when it comes to relationships, how if we're wanting to change patterns, let's say we keep dating the same type of person and we don't want to do that anymore because it never turns out well for us, or maybe it's abusive. Then we date someone who's healthy, happy, friendly, not abusive to us. And we're like, I don't know, they just don't give me the same excitement. I'm just not that interested in them, because that kind of relationship is uncomfortable. And even my own therapist was telling me back in the day, but right before I met Sean, she was like, I don't want you to jump into a relationship. I kind of want you to slowly take your time and be uncomfortable in your next relationship, because I was trying to break a pattern. And so I say all of that to say that sometimes being happy is us trying to break that pattern, and it's really uncomfortable. And it can be hard for us to sit in it, meaning allow it to happen without taking action that puts us back into a place where we feel bad again. Because feeling bad is comfortable, right? We're used to it and we kind of know what to expect. So we can find ourselves trying to do that, hence the self-sabotage. Another component that I want to talk about, and something that we've talked about in relation to trauma, but I think it applies here as well, is how happiness can cause us to feel vulnerable and make us feel like we're unsafe. And the reason I say we talked about it in relation to trauma is we talk about how those of us who've been traumatized and have PTSD or complex PTSD can struggle to find a safe place to go to. Some therapists might say find a safe place you can go to in your mind so you can work through this. Well, safe can feel just as scary as unsafe. I don't know if that makes sense, but safe can feel unsafe because if we feel safe, that means our guard is down and we're relaxed, and that can make us more vulnerable to being harmed again. And I think this applies when it comes to being happy and being afraid of being happy. It's that same kind of thing. We can feel like we're going to let our guard down, and that can make us more vulnerable to some unhappiness or some horrific thing occurring to us that's going to cause us to be unhappy again. Does that make sense? And so in a way, it's almost like we're hypervigilant, we're fighting against the happiness because that feels kind of scary in and of itself. And also kind of tying into that or rolling off of that is the fact that when we can finally feel kind of happy, I've heard this from a lot of patients and a lot of you out there, is that we can feel like we're waiting for the next shoe to drop, right? Okay, everything's kind of going well. When are things not going to go well? Because they always have in the past. And I think that's what makes us great as humans, right? We're super adaptable and we can sniff out patterns and figure out we try to put everything into kind of a category or a pattern so that we're prepared for the future. Does that make sense? That's what our brain is always doing. It's constantly looking in our environment, seeking out threat to our emotional or physical safety. And so in doing so, when we finally feel happy, our brain is like looking around. It's like, last time we felt like this, remember, then our parents got divorced, our grandma died, and then, our dad started drinking. Or, I don't know, I'm just making up a scenario. And so our brain looks out and it's like, oh, no, we know this. This is actually a threat to our emotional well-being. Therefore, it can put us into our stress response, cause fight, flight, freeze, fawn to happen. Or we can start to do things to cause us to not be in that scenario because we want to remove ourselves from that threat to lower that stress response and feel better, even if that feeling better actually means we're less happy. Does any of this make sense? I hope so, because I've been thinking about it a lot, and I think it's way, way, way more common than we let on. And I think all of us have different limits to what we'll allow ourselves to experience or allow ourselves to take in. I even personally struggle to, I don't know if the word's like acknowledge, but maybe it's more absorb like things that I've accomplished. And I know this sounds really silly to say it this way and to even talk about it in relation to this, but it's like, I worked really hard to write my 2 books. And every time I do, my mom and, my friends and family will be like, oh my God, that's amazing. Even Sean is like, I can't, this is amazing that you wrote, like for my birthday this year. He's like, I really want to treat you. You had like a big year. You wrote a book and blah, blah, blah. And people are all excited. And I have a tough time allowing that to get in. I'm like, oh, no. If I start thinking of myself in that way, then I'm only going to let myself down or let the people in my life down. And that is what we're talking about. I do it too. It's like the struggle to admit that we're happy and admit that we're proud and like good, like because we don't want to, we're looking in the future thinking, oh, but I don't want to fuck this up. Right. And it's like, that's not it. That's not healthy. And I'm still working on how to not do it. But I will tell you this, sometimes what I do is I just allow people to give me compliments or allow those stories to be told to me, and I just don't fight back. And I know that sounds silly, like why would you fight back? But I don't know. I just do it. But when it comes to the happiness, maybe it's part of it's just letting ourselves feel it, just letting it happen and not fighting against it. Noticing the urge to do the self-destructive behaviors, and instead of just doing it without thinking, we're like, I actually have a choice. And I don't know if I want to do that. Even if we end up doing it in the future or doing it another time, I'm just saying in the moment, just recognizing it sometimes prevents me from sliding into that unhealthy spiral and kind of like not allowing myself to feel the happiness or be happy because of what I don't know, like my self-destructive thoughts and what I think could potentially happen. I don't know. I don't want to ramble about this anymore, but that's the topic today. And I would love to hear more in the comments. I'd love to have a conversation with each and every one of you about your thoughts. Are you afraid to be happy? Is it scary to be happy? Are you like me? Do you just like, it does not compute, la, 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 I don't hear it. Like push it out, shut it down, negate it? Or what's your pattern? Because that's just mine. And what I've heard from, my viewers and my clients over the years is just, sometimes it's hard to be happy, which doesn't make sense, but makes sense all at the same time. When I was researching for this video, because I wanted to read about it, right? I wanted to learn more. I'm like, why do people fear being happy? And like read from you guys and your comments and also like researching about it. And I learned a new word, and I'm probably mispronouncing it, but the fear of being happy is actually called cherophobia. Again, probably mispronouncing it. But essentially what they think is that cherophobia stems from our belief that if something good happens or if we actually feel happy, then it's like, I don't even know what we would call it, but it's like this internal, like deep belief that if something good happens, that means that something bad is going to happen. Kind of like that waiting for the other shoe to drop, right? It's like, if we're happy, then something horrible is going to happen that's going to cause us to be intensely unhappy. And so instead of allowing ourselves to feel happy and be happy and just like accept it, we have cherophobia, meaning we're afraid of it and we like avoid it at all costs, just like we would any phobia. Because like I don't think I have like arachnophobia, but I definitely don't like spiders. And so I will avoid them at all costs. And like, I don't want them in my house. I don't want to deal with them, Sean. It's like, just replace spider with happiness. And I'm like, I don't want it in my house, in my life. No. I make Sean deal with it. Like, if it's kind of funny when you like replace one for the other when it comes to phobias, especially things like happiness. It almost is like a comedic relief, but it's essentially what we're doing is that we're just like avoiding it at all costs because we feel that there's some kind of danger associated with it. And so anyways, overall, I think it's just kind of important that we consider if this is something we're struggling with. Because like I said, I've struggled with it myself, and I find myself struggling to accept or acknowledge happiness in my life and let myself truly feel it. I instead want to like negate it. And it's not even just like I can't take compliments, because that's like a small portion of this. It's almost like I don't deserve it, or if I do, then something bad's going to happen. That whole belief system needs to be challenged and fact-checked in order for us to overcome it. Because otherwise, I know personally, I'll just keep getting caught in it over and over again, and that doesn't lead me anywhere I want to be. Because really, happiness is something that we all want. Even if it feels kind of scary and we're like, oh, I think something, it's like, that still is the goal of life, and something that we would want for others and ourselves is like, we want to be happy. We want to be content with our life. And so anyways, all I'm saying is pay attention. Do you have cherophobia? Is that what it was called? I'm going to say it wrong again, but yeah, cherophobia, like I do and other people in our community. Do you think it stems from your fear that something bad is going to happen after? Or do you think it's because of maybe trauma or hypervigilance? I would love to know more in those comments down below, and love to get your take, because each and every one of us, just like everything, is going to have a different experience, a different perspective. And I want to hear more about it. But this was really interesting to learn about. It was really interesting for me to research and read and talk to all of you about. So if you have any other questions or things you'd like me to address, I'm happy to talk about it more, and I'm happy to talk about other topics. Just let me know in those comments down below, and I'll see you next time. Bye. Sorry guys, I had to take a pause. If you hear a bark, it's because she's barking outside. Roxy's our new puppy, if you don't know. Are they going to hear it on the mic, you think? I think it's good. Okay. Learn from you. Her little head. Maybe go out with her for just a couple minutes, because I just need like 2 or 3 minutes, because she was like, attack. I think it's okay.